Who am I and why should you care? And before I get into that, I do want to say it is really good as a community to see so many candidates in the room today from both sides of the aisle. And it's great to see so many people get involved today. It's what we need as a community. So I want to thank all the candidates as a citizen of Dare County for being here today. It's great to see. I'm Clark Twiddy. I grew up in Duck, North Carolina. There were 7 kids. My brother and sister and I were 3 of the 7. And I worry that Doug Dowdy knew us all by name. So he's probably sitting there wondering what I'm doing up in front of everybody today. I went to Kitty Hawk Elementary School. My mom was a teacher there. I went to Manteo Middle School. I went to Manteo High School. And then I graduated and went to college up in Lexington, Virginia, and fulfilled my lifelong ambition of joining the Navy. I was 10 years old when the movie Top Gun came out in 1986. I watched it up at the Kitty Hawk movie theater, and I decided that was it. And I was able to go do that. So I spent 10 years in the Navy. I was an intel guy. I lived in a combat zone for 4.5 years. It was the greatest privilege of my life. And then I got a chance to go back to graduate school, had a congressional scholarship, put myself through grad school in the GI Bill. And then my brother is my best friend, and my parents are the 2 greatest teachers I've ever had. And I had a chance to come back home and work with them up in Duck at Twiddy and Company. And we're proud to be one of the biggest employers in Dare and Currituck County. And we celebrate 50 years as an independent family business this year. And we've done that through never bouncing a paycheck. And we've done that through being really careful with other people's money. And we never forget that every nickel of taxpayer money, somebody had to work really hard for. And on the Republican side, we talk about things like less taxes and less government and more individual liberty. And I can't always promise as a candidate that we'll always agree on everything. In fact, if we're truthful and honest with ourselves, it will rarely be unanimous on anything. But we do promise we have to work together. And folks, as citizens of northeastern North Carolina, here's the truth. We may not want to hear it, but it's true. If we want anything, we're going to have to work together. 2 million people have moved to North Carolina in the past several years. That's the equivalent of the state of Nebraska moving to North Carolina. That population growth has occurred overwhelmingly in urban areas like Raleigh and Charlotte. And now the population in Raleigh and Charlotte is getting to the point where that's where all the people are. And if we're not careful, I like to say, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. We need to be careful we're not on the menu. And in order to do that, we've got to elect folks, and I don't even say elect. I'm standing in front of you as a job applicant. You hire someone to go to Raleigh and represent you because this government of, by, and for the people takes your money. And when they take your money, they owe you several things. Number one, they owe you representation because you get a vote, literally, in how that money gets spent. And you also get a voice in Raleigh. And we need to make sure that the voice we send to Raleigh, you hire to send to Raleigh, is someone who will look after every nickel of taxpayer money that somebody worked really hard to earn. And somebody who understands Dare County. My wife and little girl and I live back in Collington behind the fire station. My wife would be here, but my 2-year-old didn't want to take a nap. So those of you probably understand the predicament we were in, so that's where they are right now. We grew up in this area. We understand Dare County. Our Senate district is 11 counties. It got bigger. And why did it get bigger? Because more people left than moved in. I have friends of mine running for Senate in western North Carolina right now. One of them can get to everywhere in his district in 30 minutes. Swan Quarter to Moyock's every bit of 3 hours. Ocracoke to Ahoskie, even longer than that. So we've got a big district. We need to talk about economic development. We need to talk about transportation. We need to talk about our community colleges. One of the things I've been fortunate enough to do is be the chair of strategic planning for our entire community college system in North Carolina. It's one of the crown jewels of our state. 58 colleges, 110 campuses, 800,000 people walk through the doors every year. Where's that community college system going to take us? And what's the right vision? And it's things like that that I think are so relevant to northeastern North Carolina. And I know there are a lot of folks here, so let me wrap up just by saying this. I am brand new to politics. My name tag won't even stay on today. The one I have is out in the car. I forgot to bring it in. That's how new I am. I'm not new to public service. I'm on the board of for-profit, non-profit, things like the Outer Banks Community Foundation. I don't say that to politicize the community foundation. They should not be politicized. But we need folks that understand our community and our region. And we need the ability to get to our elected officials. And this isn't running down anybody. I'm not saying that somebody's not accessible. But you ought to be able to call somebody. And I like to say the only bad question is the one that's not asked. So if we disagree, let's put all our cards on the table and disagree. I think most of us agree. Let's talk about what we agree on, and you'll always get an honest and open and respectful conversation when we agree and when we don't agree. And I hope in the weeks to come, I don't ask for your vote. I hope to earn it as your hire, as your new person you want to send to Raleigh to represent you. And on a last note, my last comment, Wally, I went to a Board of Commissioners meeting the other day, and on the agenda it said, how will these decisions affect our families and our children? What a great question to ask as we sit here today. And over the next couple of weeks, I hope to earn your vote. Thank you for your time today. Enjoy your afternoon. Thank you for your support.